Question. Hi Kim, the masters have said that we are to multiply our talents. What do I do if I do not know what my talents are in the first place? So it's a reasonable question. I understand the question. And of course, the whole idea goes back to Jesus' parables, where there's a master who's going away, and he calls his 3 servants, and he gives each of them a certain number of talents, which was the money they had at the time. So it's a certain amount of money. And then he goes away, and then when he comes back, he demands them to give account. What have they done with the talents? And 2 have multiplied them, 1 has buried them in the ground. So he chastises the one who buried them in the ground, and he praises the ones who multiply the talents and gives them more. And this parable describes basically the principle of how we grow on the spiritual path. Because when we apply our talents, we might say, we'll receive more light from our higher self and the ascended master. So we have more creative ability. So talents is, of course, in the biblical sense, the coin, or the actual money they had back then. It's like dollars today. But I understand that there are many spiritual people who understand this to be talents. Like, I have a talent for music. I have a talent for art. I have a talent for this. I have a talent for that. But that's not really what it means either. Because the person is saying, I do not know what my talents are in the first place. But that's implying that you are looking for some special ability or some special talent that you have, and you don't feel you have any. But you see, we all have something. This may not be a certain ability, right? But we all have something, and what we have is the light from our higher self, from the I Am Presence, the energy we're receiving. How can I say you have that? Are you conscious? Are you watching this video? If you're conscious, you are receiving a stream of energy from your I Am Presence. And you are constantly doing something with that energy. Wherever you direct your attention, wherever actions you take, this and that. So, if you really want to understand what multiplying your talents means, you need to understand, and I've talked about this in many videos, that we have 2 basic states of consciousness. We can see ourselves as being connected to something outside ourselves, or we can see ourselves as separate beings who think our minds can decide what's right and wrong. So basically, if we want to make it very, very simple, we can say, when you go into the state of separation, the illusion that you're a separate being, you're using the duality consciousness to decide what's good for me, and never mind how it affects other people. You're justifying your actions with duality, just from that sense that you're a separate being and you can do something to others that doesn't affect yourself. So this is burying your talents in the ground. Whatever you do in the duality consciousness, you're burying your talents in the ground. And that's why you will see that there is nothing for the I Am Presence to multiply. So people who go into duality, the deeper they go, the less consciousness, less energy they're receiving from the I Am Presence. This is counterintuitive because some of the people who are at the lowest consciousness seem to be very powerful dictators who can bend people to their will. But that's because they steal energy from the people they are bending to their will. So basically, the deeper you go into reality, the less you get a little bit of energy from your I Am Presence, so you couldn't stay conscious, but the less you get, and therefore the more you need to steal in order to do anything. So that's burying your talents in the ground. So the moment you go above to the 48th level, you reconnect to your higher self. You have some sense of connection. There's something outside your own mind. Then when you strive to do unselfish actions, when you are not deliberately hurting other people, when you're not deliberately being selfish, but you're striving to become more aware of the consequences of your actions. That's multiplying your talents. Whatever you do. Now, most people, of course, are still, they have some dualistic selves, as I talk about these subconscious selves, they still have some dualistic selves, so when they act through them, they are burying the talents in the ground. But when they act from the non-dual selves, then they are multiplying their talents. And then you receive more and more energy. So the higher you go on the spiritual path, the more energy you receive from your I Am Presence. The more creative you are, the more aware you are, the more peaceful you are. And many people have demonstrated this and experienced that in their own lives. So this is really the basic meaning of multiplying your talents. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't people who have special talents or who have something to do. But what I'm trying to say is that we all have an individual life plan, as I've talked about. And one aspect of it is the growth we want to go through in our own psychology. And what is that growth? It's resolving psychology, the subconscious self. Whenever you are working on something, resolving your psychology, growing spiritually, you are multiplying the talents. Then there is a part of our divine plan or life plan that is about what we can do for the world. And it's not all people who have to go out and do something actively. But many people could, for example, just work in a certain aspect of area of life and they improve it a little bit. Or they do it with a positive attitude. Or you smile at people. You help people feel better. You help other people, multiplying their talents. But there are, of course, people who have a life plan to do something in society, whatever it may be. It can be any area of society where there's improvement needed. And, of course, that's any area of society. So I'm not saying there aren't people who don't have special talents, so to speak. But even if you feel you have no special talents, the principle is simple, right? And you'll see that in the parable Jesus gave. One servant got 10 talents, one person got 5, and one servant got 2. It wasn't that just because the third guy only got 2 talents that he couldn't do anything with it. Because it didn't matter. The amount is not what matters. The matters is, do you multiply what you have? So that's why I'm saying, you already have something. And it's not a matter of saying, oh, I need to acquire this special talent so that I can do something important in the world. No. You look at yourself, where am I at right now? What can I do? Number 1, how can I resolve my psychology? Number 2, is there something I can do for others? Is there something I can do to improve the situation I'm in, whatever environment I'm in? I remember traveling some years ago in South America, Colombia and Peru. And one of the things that struck me was, of course, the extreme poverty you see, which I'm not used to coming from Denmark and living in the United States. But nevertheless, you see the extreme poverty. You see people are living basically in the slum, in these mud huts out in the country, and you can see they don't have much. But what you also see is there's trash around where they live. Well, how hard is it to pick up the trash and make it clean and nice where you live? Even if you live in a tin hut in a slum, there's something you can do to improve that environment. And that is multiplying the talents. It's multiplying whatever you have. I'm not defending here that people live in poverty. I obviously think the world needs to change so they don't live in poverty. But I'm just saying, whatever situation you're in, there's always something you can do. And that multiplies the talents, meaning you get more. And as you then multiply that, you get more. And there is no limit from the Ascended Master to how far this can go. No limit, other than what you set up in your own mind, by not being willing to resolve the psychology that defines those limits. So I hope this helps. I mean, it really is a matter of making this shift and realizing, I do have something. I do have some ability to improve my life, to improve my actions, to improve my situation. And whatever I do is multiplying the talents, and to him that has, more shall be added.